welcome to another episode of CMM Talkshow, where we break down the latest conspiracies, monster stories, and much, much more. We're your hosts, James, Dean, and Duke. And well, real quick, boys, how was y'all's time in between last episode and now?
Mine was fine. I've just been doing the most, I guess.
Giving her what for?
What for, and a day or two, and yeah, all that stuff. Yeah.
All the fun stuff.
My week's been okay. I mean, it's been super hot here. I don't know how to complain worse than what Duke probably goes through, but
yeah, it's Satan's anus here.
pretty wild.
Well, y'all can for case anyone doesn't know, I'm north of these guys. You'd think it would be cooler, but apparently they're doing some kind of like voodoo ritual to send it on up my way because it's toasty and I'm not a fan of it.
It's the paranormal. I blame the CIA.
Call it a rook. That's why what voodoo women that put a rook on you.
Yeah, well, I got two air conditioners in my house for like 22,000 BTU, and they haven't been keeping up, and I'm not a fan of this. Y'all could take your weather back, and it can snow here, and I'd be much happier.
I wish I had snow.
Well, that's why we're planning on like a November, December time to go visit Duke. Like, we'll die.
That's fair. Very fair. Yeah, no, I will melt. I will straight up melt.
We will die
right now. But with the beach is hurricanes.
All right. A little bit of water.
The fun stuff, right?
Well, surfing's fun before a hurricane. Just got to watch out for jellyfish.
Ooh.
Well, I suppose, yeah, that wouldn't be particularly entertaining either, but...
Well, so what do we got going on?
I guess one of us could pee on the other one, so, I mean, thank God there's three guys. You can direct the stream.
It's like
Make it sound a little weird there, I guess, now that I said it, but hey, I said it.
It's like a circle, it's fine.
But now they're catching great whites off the beach down in Gulf Shores, Orange Beach.
Really?
They caught a couple big great whites.
I always wanted to punch a great white in the nose and see if it actually works. Actually, no, it's the gills. You got to go for the gills.
All right.
I don't worry about great white.
I'll give that thing a right hook. It'll never forget as it bites me in half. I'm not under the illusion that I'm gonna beat the crap out of a great white shark and survive, but we'll give it the old college try.
Going full Joe Rogan right now, fighting
wild Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
You 3 foot of water.
You know what we could do for a special, and everyone go ahead and while you're there, real quick, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit the noti bell. But in the comments below, tell us when we do our little meet up here for an episode in November. Maybe we can do like a little fight club thing for y'all or something. We'll put it on for people who are subscribed or whatever. So let us know about that. Like I said in the comments below, it could be pretty entertaining.
Well, and the new thing too, we have our email. It's right above on our page. You can just click on it now, and it should open up your email, and it's easy to email us as well with any stories or anything else. But speaking of, what do we got going on this week? What's the subject matter?
Well, the subject matter this week is from a place called Land Between the Lakes in southern Kentucky. There have been many Bigfoot and Dogman sightings and attacks, so on and so forth up there. Been going on since like the 60s. There's been 18 people being killed due to strange animal attacks. And the Land Between the Lakes is the TVA flooded 2 lakes, so many miles apart, and there was land between them. Well, they come in and took the land, like eminent domain or whatever, took the land from the people that lived there and forced them to move out, and was going to turn it into some type of like national forest / tourist attraction, and back in the '60s, and they just all of a sudden stopped. They built some stuff and just left it. And it's just been grown over. Should have been taken down but wasn't. It's become a hazard. There's places that they've blocked off where people can't go. You can still go in there and camp in places, but there's been Bigfoot sightings. They tell of a more inquisitive, peaceful Bigfoot. Then others talk about a more malevolent, aggressive Bigfoot or Dogman.
I was going to say, I'm not familiar with the Dogman.
Well, Martin Groves, an ex-law enforcement officer up in Kentucky, he's one of the local cryptid experts now. He had a Dogman encounter and attack in 1993. He was attacked by one. And he's a pretty believable man. And he talks about it a lot.
So it's pretty recent then, huh? Like the 90s?
Yeah, well, I mean, the attack started back in the 60s, I think. One of the worst deaths was in 1982, but you can't figure out if it's true or not. It's like a family was killed at a campsite, but you can't figure out if it's true or if it's a cover-up because there's no evidence of it. It's gone. Any evidence is gone. And there's been other attacks that have been covered up. You can go up there and they say that local police and state troopers will share stories of sightings. They'll tell you about sightings. It's that it happens that often.
Well, who's covering it up then?
Probably the government. The government was what took over the land between the lakes. Some people think that that the government had a base in there or something, and they also think that the Dogman was a failed attempt at a super soldier. That's some people talking. Let's see here.
Well, I think it was Kegs was talking. So we touched on Bigfoot last time. Is that roughly the same area where the Bigfoot was? No, that was Oklahoma, wasn't it? Or it was abducting people or whatever?
Yeah. Well, see, there in Native American lore, there's another type of Bigfoot called a Gugwe. And it's very aggressive. And it's like a Bigfoot, but it has a more ape-like face. And even I think the sightings of Dogman could have been a Gugwe, or a creature similar. They could be one and the same,
That's
The
great.
funny thing is, now you check this out. Cemeteries produce a lot of sightings up there, especially Catholic. Now that falls in line with the Rougarou in Louisiana, that it goes after Catholic people who don't go to mass or, don't. That's just a similarity with that, in my opinion. And
Almost like a spiritual thing?
well, yeah, I mean, it could be, or, they say there's more sightings around Catholic cemeteries than regular cemeteries. But, they've had, some people have said that the Bigfoot, or one of them is to the south of the land between the lakes, the other is to the north, and there's a line that they don't cross, but that's not true. They've been spotted, either one's been spotted north and south of land between the lakes. I don't know. It could be a government cover-up just to because of the two cryptids in there, and government's not letting anybody in there or not wanting anybody in there, and you go in at your own risk if you do.
I was going to ask, is it a park or a national park or something now? What do they use it for?
It was going to be something similar to that back in the 60s when they took over the land, but like I said, they built all this stuff and just left it. They partially built it or got it like 90% complete or 50% complete and just stopped and just abandoned it. Like, and went on about their business and left it there. Like some of these dwellings and some of these, like, was supposed to be like a bridge or something, or some pilings and stuff. A lot of this stuff, aqueduct, I think, runs through there. all this stuff's about to fall down. It's become dangerous.
Nah, that's crazy. And they just abandon it, huh?
Yeah, there's places in there where kids go in and have fun. There's some like little motel area that was abandoned, and it's still there. And kids go in there and write on the walls and do what kids do. There's been a few sightings around it.
It's always something about the I don't know, northwest, I guess, northeast now. So I don't know. It just seems like middle of
This
nowhere.
this is more central, south central, I guess. I don't know. Another thing is nightfall. When it turns night, during the day you get the kind of the inquisitive Bigfoot sightings, the more peaceful Bigfoot. It seems at night is when you get the more aggressive Bigfoot and the dogman sightings.
So, is there? So, for people that don't know, you've got some Native American in you. Is there any like lore with the Dogman and Native Americans?
I think there is. From what I've found out myself, the Gugway's the closest thing to it. There are the Dogman, or say wolf, would be more of a skinwalker, skin changer. There's plenty of lore about those, and they usually like to change into a dog or a wolf.
Well, yeah,
And
that's what I was going to
and
ask.
the Dogman, and speaking of Dogman, it has a very unique howl. It's very different from, say, a red wolf or a coyote, both of native of that area up there. And that Groves guy I talked about has a friend, Dexter. Now, that Dexter man he had a Bigfoot encounter, and they both go out there together searching for Bigfoot and Dogman, and they've been surrounded multiple times at campsites. And campsites seem to be where you'll get surrounded by them. And I mean, just be completely surrounded.
That's freaky. Well, and I knew that there was like shapeshifters in a lot of Native American lore. So, yeah, that's kind of creepy, man. So, do you know? Do we ever have a official like stories on super soldiers or work on that? Is there anything that's been declassified?
Not that I know of. I haven't looked. Yeah, I haven't in depth looked into it. I just kind of brushed that one aside as far as the Land Between the Lakes goes. I just don't think there's any kind of super soldier thing to the Dogman.
Well,
in World War II, Germany, they were trying to cross humans with apes for super soldiers.
No joke.
No joke. There's a documentary on it, I do believe. I'll have to see if I can find it. Maybe we can put it in the link. But there was a program, and I forget the name of it right at the moment. But they were basically trying to take chimps and gorillas and cross them with human females.
And that was Russian?
I believe it was.
All right. Yeah, we'll definitely try to find that link. Throw it up here.
Yeah, but I believe it was the Soviets that were working on that because the Germans were too busy with their blonde hair, blue eyed thing, which never made sense to me because let's be honest, Hitler wasn't. So why was he obsessed with that? I don't understand it, but
yeah. Well, he was big into the occult too, from what I've read.
Oh, absolutely. That's part of the reason they lost the war is they were searching for like that one Indiana Jones movie, The Lost Ark, or the Ark or whatever, Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
He spent so much resources looking for that it was they could have built I think they said 3 battleships the size of the Bismarck off of just those expeditions. And then he was looking for all kinds of crazy shit, man.
Spear of Destiny.
Yep, that was another one. Then there was something about he was looking they were looking for Atlantis, to try and figure out what the power that destroyed Atlantis was, so they could harness it for the Reich and whatnot.
Well,
They they financed another guy, a young guy that became kind of like a scientist for the Holy Grail.
dude,
He supposedly had narrowed down where the Holy Grail was, but it didn't turn out for him.
well, kids, don't do meth. You'll end up like Hitler. Yeah.
Well, Hitler only did cocaine, so that's
It's fucking hilarious.
Well, now it's back to the Bigfoot thing.
Yeah.
We've had, and pretty lately, I should say, we've had sightings and we've had audio, video of some Bigfoot sightings. Not in Land Between the Lakes, but in another area. In October 2023, there was a video in Colorado. At least 3 people saw what they said was a 5 to 6 foot tall creature walking upright.
Yeah, I'll throw it up on the screen now. But yeah, dude, it was one of the craziest videos I've ever seen. Like, you can tell that's definitely not somebody in a suit. Like,
yeah, it was deemed pretty credible to me, I think.
well, and
the mannerisms were interesting, that's for sure. And the sound, you could hear the people I believe they were on a train. I can't see it at the moment.
yeah,
But
I think it was an airplane, and literally you can hear kids crying and stuff. Like, it was definitely not staged like a private plane or something. It didn't seem like it.
Yeah, it seemed spur of a moment like video.
yeah, say if it was staged, they need to go ahead and find new careers because they missed their calling.
Yeah, I heard that.
Well, the weirdest thing about Colorado too, like let's say it is like say a great ape that escaped a zoo or something. I find it really hard for it to be able to survive very long if that was the case, and that one looked like it was pretty healthy. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's some berries and whatnot there, but as if they were to go, because most primates are omnivores, so you would think they would be able to sustain itself off of. I mean, there's ample fish and elk and deer and whatnot in Colorado, mountain lions and other things,
Plenty of fish, and say you figure if fish can sustain a full size brown bear,
oh, that's true.
a Bigfoot not far behind.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I didn't even think about that.
Now, and another thing, I did kind of run 2 together. Now, this is kind of another place. At least 3 people that saw a 5 to 6 foot tall creature walking upright was in, I think it was in Carolinas, and they were hunting in Island State Park. And listen to this. Now, this was in 2022, but the officials up there deem it a credible sighting. The state officials deem it a credible sighting. They're not saying it was an off-the-wall sighting. They're actually were behind it because they had multiple people see it.
Oh, wow. What they see exactly?
A creature 5 to 6 feet tall, walking upright, and it wasn't a bear. They knew the difference between a bear and they said this thing had long arms and big hands and big feet, and it was more of a Bigfoot cryptid type than a bear, which it was kind of a brownish color. So,
well, that's pretty crazy, man. I don't know. Like, it's pretty interesting because it seems to be a worldwide phenomenon, right? At least the Bigfoot stuff. I mean,
now check this out. Now, this was in, I want to say this was in 2023. There was a hunter in Panola County, East Texas. He was hog hunting when a Bigfoot leapt out of the woods and grabbed one of the hogs he was hunting. It started making whooping noises and making howls. And right before it started walking back in the woods, it stared directly at him and growled. They locked eye to eye, and it growled, and it disappeared in the woods.
Nope.
And this is a hunter. You know, he's going to know the difference between a bear and especially like that, when you're like, the thing snatches up a hog, you know, right there that you're hunting.
That's kind of like when you seen King Julian, I'm assuming.
yeah, slightly different. I got to probably put you a little bit on the edge there. Now, recently, it was I think somewhere around June 4th of this year. Alabama couple up in Hale County, and 2 nights in a row caught audio of what they consider Bigfoot on both nights. And the second night was louder and more prolonged audio, but they have audio from both, and it was around 2 a.m. both nights when they caught this audio. And I've listened to it, and I can't debunk it either. There's nothing in the Alabama woods that makes that noise. Nothing. And I'm in Alabama, and I've been in Alabama woods all my life, and I've never heard anything like that except for what I thought was Bigfoot.
Well, and I'll throw the audio up here for him, too. That's pretty incredible. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Like we kind of covered the linguistics last time, but yeah, it's not a bobcat. Nothing I've heard anyway.
Nah, I've never heard anything. There's no coyote, no dog, no wolf.
That's pretty incredible, though. And
It's either somebody's a very good hoax or some type of cryptid, Bigfoot, in my opinion.
Well,
now there's another. Now this is in Louisiana on July 6th of this year. A group of teens, they were in Kisatchie National Forest, about 100 miles northwest of Baton Rouge, and they called 911 and said they saw a Bigfoot-like creature with glowing eyes that scared the hell out of them. It's about all the information I have on that one, but that was just a couple weeks ago.
See, that's crazy. Do you know what their most recent death was?
Most recent death?
Yeah, attributed to, something like this? Dogman or?
I don't know. That's something I haven't looked up.
It's just crazy that it's still happening. Because, we all know of the Patterson video, and I'll throw that up just in case people aren't familiar. But there's documentaries on that one where they say basically there's no way that the time it was filmed that they had even the technology to fake that, like the suits and stuff. And besides, it looks natural. I don't know. Are you guys familiar with the Patterson video, I'm sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what was that, 67 or something? Or
yeah, it was really early, and I think it was Oregon, wasn't it? Oregon or Washington, something like that.
Yeah, but wasn't it like 1967 or something like that?
Yeah, and it was shot with like some kind of a older school camera, but it was really clear for what it was, especially at the time.
I think it was like a 38 millimeter or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Back then, look at the movies that were coming out. What, Wolfman and Frankenstein, maybe.
Yeah.
All the scary movies. They weren't real. Yeah, They weren't big. They didn't have real good graphics.
Well,
Damn sure didn't have CGI.
speaking of that too, I think it was kind of that area, but like they were doing a lot of UFO type stuff there too, like around that time, 50s, 60s. Um, I just thought it was kind of important to bring up.
Yeah, um, they have a lot of sightings of lights and UFOs in that land between the lakes.
See, that's what I was wondering. I wonder if there was some type of a correlation between that, because
Yeah, they
there's
don't know if the lights are UFOs or if it's the government or what.
see, and there seems to be theories that they're interdimensional too. I don't know. Like you brought it back to the spirit thing, for the Catholic thing. It'd be pretty crazy. Um, I was listening to this podcast. They were talking about if you read the Bible literally, I guess as a literal story, it sounds like a UFO encounter. I never really thought about
Yeah.
it like that.
What? Do we have any Do we have any messages or any texts or anybody hit us up on anything?
We did actually.
Yeah, we did actually get our first. I guess we'll call them messages from the masses or whatever. It was from actually acquaintance of ours with some good video. Dean, if you have the capability, would you care to read that for us? The story behind the sighting, and we'll kind of break it down a little.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got his email in front of me, and we'll put it in context. But first of all, this is from a guy that I know as Beer Me One in a video game we all play. But shout out to him. Thank you for sharing your story. So this is the email. He said, I spent 10 years as a search and rescue officer in the Civil Air Patrol. Recently retired as a maintenance man due to COVID reasons. On June 21st, I loaded my family up in the car to head out to Thorpe, Washington to visit my father-in-law and celebrate his 80th birthday. He has family up there and was even born in the house next to the one he still owns. I'm a very avid sky watcher, so anytime we go on vacation to the beach or the mountains, I get my camera out and start usually looking for UPAs. Or UAPs, I think is what he meant. I can usually find them anywhere at night as long as it's clear. So come June 22nd around 10:30 at night, I started looking in the sky for UFOs, and immediately I found this, and the video will be on the screen. When I captured it on film, I could have stayed there all night filming, but I figured this video was long enough. I immediately went back in the house and showed it to my wife. She was so amazed that she said, I need to send that to a UFO expert immediately. The next day, we were setting up for Dad's birthday party, and we seen a forest ranger plane flying by, and he's such a hardcore aviation enthusiast that he snapped a couple moving pictures, not even thinking twice about it. He was just trying to catch the plane. He said later on he was evaluating the photographs, and you can definitely see like an orb-shaped tic-tac, almost like you can see in the nighttime video. The feature's about 4 or 5 o'clock below the Ranger plane. You'll be able to see it on the video, and I'm going to overlay it here. And he said he actually yelled through the entire house when he realized what it was, and he wasn't even trying. And he said, by the way, this is my first broad daylight UFO picture. So big shout out to Chris again. Thank you so much for that. And honestly, guys, we've all had a chance to look at these. I mean, what do you guys think?
I have expanded it, and at night, that especially that night video, that's not, to me, that's not a drone. I've never seen a drone that looks like that. It looks like some type of spinning triangular object that's reflecting light when it spins. Kind of like light going around, but it seems to be triangular to me, and I've never seen a drone like that.
It was pretty incredible. I don't know. Well, the
Yeah,
thing,
it
It's amazing
definitely doesn't
video.
track like a satellite. It doesn't have the right flashing lights to be an aircraft that I could see in it in the video anyway. So that rules out any kind of commercial airliners or civilian plane traffic.
well, and there towards the end, you can actually see it start to jump a little bit faster, like up and down.
Yeah,
And
well, like I say, when you expand it up close, you can see it spinning as it's moving.
yeah, yeah,
You
it
know, it's
almost
like
looks
a
like a pyramid or something, like a double pyramid or
yeah,
something, like a diamond, but in
yeah. It
4D.
reminds me of something from um what's that show? Oh heck, I can't remember the name of the show.
Like Ancient Aliens or something.
No, it was that fictional show that come on. It started out with a movie with the scientist that went in with the special forces guys. Hey, Kurt Russell.
Oh, Stargate.
Stargate. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Well, and that's the thing too. Like, and with the zooming in, and again, this should all be on the screen, but overlaying them, they sure seem to have a little bit of the same shape. What do you guys think about the daytime still photograph? I mean, that's pretty crazy. There's definitely something
Yeah,
there.
that's pretty crazy too. I don't know. I can't debunk it. I can't say it's a plane. I can't say it's you've got a plane there. You got that float plane. I can't debunk it.
Well, in
Yeah, I don't see that's a controlled airspace, so I don't see them allowing two aircraft to be that close to each other.
Right.
well,
You know what I mean? Like that's their job is to keep that kind of shit from happening.
we even discussed maybe lens flares, but I mean, at that distance and angle, I mean, the sun is definitely behind him. So I don't know. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Well, just are you able to put it up where
Yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
let people see what they think.
Yeah.
Let's hear
Yeah,
what everybody
tell
else
us.
thinks.
Yeah, everyone, tell us what you think in the comments. Definitely. And I was also thinking when someone brought up lens flare when we were first looking at this. I don't see like I'm not a photography expert. So if someone is that's watching, by all means, give us your thoughts. But I don't see how it would even be possible to get a lens flare from the distance that he's at. I mean, that's got to be like a 1 in a million, millisecond, shot. It just seems highly unlikely.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah, it's kind of a weird angle.
well, and even that video, the nighttime video here, like at first I thought, okay, because I know you can manipulate, things in the sky, make them look like they're moving by moving the camera, basically. But you can see in this video that like when we put a stabilizer on it, he's not moving very much. Like he was able to keep it pretty still. And
Yeah.
it's just making unnatural movements, like you said, and it's spinning. It's really odd. And
You know, my bad. I'm kind of off subject, not really off subject, but on subject. He also has some Bigfoot stories. We need to get up with him one day on that.
yeah, we absolutely should, especially if he's near the Washington area or something. It sounds like so.
Yes, I think he's up in Oregon.
Yeah, dude, that's prime real estate for that, right? So they consider Washington State the capital of UFO sightings. So that's kind of what triggered when you mentioned when we were talking about the Patterson video, and maybe there's some kind of a link between UAPs and Bigfoot and some of these sightings. Um,
Could be.
that's the biggest thing. Like, I guess it could be interdimensional, right?
Well, and that's you mentioned documentaries around the Patterson film. There, I remember watching one that was literally they took like a world class athlete, and they couldn't contort their body to properly move as the subject in the video was.
Yeah, yeah.
So I found that was the most compelling thing I've ever personally seen
Well, here's
relating
another
to
thing,
that.
and here's another thing, just as far as movies go, the best example to me would be like Star Wars, Chewbacca.
Yeah.
You know, how how much it took for the actor to do Chewbacca, you know, how many takes it took to do the scenes, you know, that was that's just something you can't do spur of the moment.
Well, and I'll throw the Patterson video back up
Oh,
here in
you talking
slow-mo.
like the vocalizations for Chewbacca?
We did just vocalizations, movement. You know, they had to work on that. You know that. You know, for any video to be
Right.
shot.
I know the voice actor. It says he falls into like what is it, like a 1% category of people who are able to make that kind of sound.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I found
and like even
fascinating.
the video was in '77, the first time we seen Star Wars come out, and that's 10 years after. 10 years after the Patterson video, somewhere around there. Plus, George Lucas had to create a lot of his things to make his graphics.
Yeah.
You know, he created the stuff to make his graphics. Well, this is stuff that wasn't around before him.
Well, and that's what I found interesting about if it was a costume. Like, people have the theory that it was just, you know, that they faked it. I think one guy that was with him later came out, said it was faked and all that. But the thing is, the people that did the documentary that I seen, and I'll slow it down to like 0.2 of regular speed, but you'll see a mammary gland there basically, and they were saying that they couldn't fake that back then, and they struggle to fake it now. I mean, look at the difference between like Chewbacca and what he looks like. There's a reason why they're covered in hair. The Chewbacca,
yeah,
because of the muscle structure.
And another thing is, it's a lot easier to say it was faked and have people back you and become become famous for saying that than it is to say it was a real deal.
Kinda,
you know,
like
and
the
people
crop circles,
look at you as a skeptic and shoot everything down you say, and you know.
Well, and I think it's pretty obvious that the guy that came out and said it, the guy that was with him, and I'm sorry, his name escapes me, but I think he actually profited from
something Gimlin, wasn't it?
It might have been. But I think he did profit from that. Like, he ended up, you know, making some appearances and stuff. But
well, you do know that we have one of our famous baseball players who now says the truth is out there. Oh, Jose Canseco. He's been hunting UFOs and Bigfoot.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I thought he was a Bigfoot.
Oh, Jose. One of the Bash brothers.
Get him and Mark McGuire back together. That'd be a heck of a hunting team there. Well, I don't know, man. What's pretty crazy about all this in general is, like you said, it's easy to say, oh, it didn't happen or it was faked and all that. Crop circles is a prime example. So when the first original crop circles started appearing, they looked nothing like the elaborate artwork that came later that was actually faked. So it's pretty crazy. It reminds me a lot of have you guys heard of the Rendlesham Forest incident in Germany? It's basically a U.S. Air Force base over in Germany. They actually held nuclear armament there too, and that's one of the biggest theories about UAPs or UFOs. They tend to always pop up around nuclear silos and stuff. But long and the short, the military came out and documented this thing in full. They didn't have cameras. If they did, it got confiscated. But the only thing that exists is like a 20-minute voice recorder of what they were seeing the entire time. You're talking like captains and colonels, and it pretty crazy. Like radiation burns, I guess. It's pretty. I guess they actually got to touch this craft. Pretty odd. But yeah.
Well, there's no telling what's creeping around Chernobyl. Well, so there's no telling what's creeping around Chernobyl over
what's
Russia.
Left? Yeah, whatever's left.
Chernobyl, the nuclear, where they had the reactor failure back in the 80s?
In the 80s?
Chernobyl?
Yeah. Where
that's what's creeping around there. with all the radiation.
Well, and for all our
Well,
friends
that
out there,
was. I think there's declassified military documents, if I remember correctly, from Bikini Atoll, and they were doing all of our atomic testing there after World War II.
Yeah.
They were having some random strange stuff pop up in the sky and whatnot as they were doing that kind of work too. So it's kind of interesting that that kind of unknown aerial aspect pops in whenever there's atomic things going on.
Yeah, it could be announcing to the rest of the universe that we're at some point ready for something. I don't know.
well, and that kind of runs us back to the Admiral Byrd story. You guys are familiar with the Antarctic Admiral Byrd thing, right? Um,
Yeah.
Basically, for those that may not know, after World War II, we sent a large convoy to Antarctica. Basically, we're looking for places to set up a military base, basically viable places in Antarctica. Well, long and the short, you know, officially nothing happened. I guess in his personal diary, he tells this fantastic story about meeting basically people flying into the earth and it was green underneath and yeah, whole bunch of crazy stuff. But yeah, there he never profited from it, never told anybody, and his son, I guess, ended up finding it in his journal. And basically, the whole moral of the story, these people, I guess, the guy he called the master told him that they were basically upset because we were destroying the planet with nuclear weapons. So and here's another side note. Did you guys know that even up till today, there is one treaty between Russia, ourselves, like pretty much every main country? There's a treaty to where we don't explore Antarctica. I'm dead serious.
I wouldn't be surprised. I know they found that, Antarctica used to be green. It used to be, an actual place where dinosaurs and stuff roamed before it broke, and drifted to the South Pole area.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, and the thing is, like, I was trying to look this up real quick.
Have you seen the blood falls there in Antarctica?
No.
There's the falls the falls is actually red. It looks like blood pouring out of a glacier.
Really?
And actually what it is like iron ore or iron deposits, iron in the ground that has oxidized, and that's the water hits it, and as the glaciers melt and it bleeds. Looks like it's bleeding. Pretty cool.
What though? Well, I know that that for all these countries to agree not to explore and drill and stuff in Antarctica, that to me is like kind of a red flag. I mean, especially Russia and stuff, like even these days, and literally, we were in the Cold War for however long, and this treaty remained. It's pretty crazy.
Well, the Nazis
know what? Well, we've had a couple bases down there now that are since now abandoned.
Mm-hmm. Like when they were doing Operation High Jump and stuff like that.
I believe that was one of them. I forget what the name of the other one was right now, but yeah, it was like a long lost base that they managed to find not too long ago or whatever.
Well, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I don't necessarily buy it, but the flat Earth community, one of their biggest arguments is that Antarctica is actually nothing but like an ice wall, like a long ice wall. You can't actually go around it and stuff like that. I know that. Well, several people got lost.
I can't. That sounds like some
out there
to me.
Yeah.
Jack Sparrow falling off the end of the earth, still like going to see Davy Jones. I believe the earth is round. I'm sorry. I've looked through powerful telescopes, the big ones.
Yeah.
I've seen other stars, other planets in the solar system, sun, moon. Seen Tranquility Base. It's round. If the moon's round, the Earth's round.
Well, see, and yeah, I don't have any any claim for flat Earth, but I always thought it was kind of interesting because I can't remember who it was. I'll try to figure it out, but there was a story about someone was just trying to basically make a map, like cartography of Antarctica, and they kept following the coastline, and they never got to the end or something. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. I don't know how you would tell, but yeah, that kind of thing.
How do they explain Magellan making it all the way around?
That's yeah,
You
and
know,
see,
sailing ship.
well, and that kind of brings us back to. I mean, this is kind of on topic, off topic, but disappearing islands too. Um, have you guys had any experience with that?
Well, I mean, there was that one island that was Mexico thought was theirs, and it was supposed to be the line for international waters, and then all of a sudden it was gone or was never there or something. I don't know the definites about it, but I just remember hearing something about it.
Yeah, yeah.
That it was on a map and now it's not there.
Well, and Cakes and I, or basically James and I, we discussed this, but the idea of Atlantis, and I think we even talked about it, Duke. Like, you think you know where?
I know where Atlantis is.
Yeah,
I'm convinced I know where Atlantis is. I have followed Plato. I have followed the directions, and I can mark off all sorts of different things as to where I found Atlantis that corroborates the story. You can go through the Pillars of Hercules, which should be the Gibraltar, in the Mediterranean, into the Atlantic. Go south, which is make a left. It's near the Atlas Mountains, which the Atlas Mountains are in northern part of Africa there. Just south of there in Mauritania, there's a what's called the Eye of the Sahara. That was Atlantis. You can see how the land was interrupted by water. You can see how how there was a south entrance, kind of a south-west entrance from the sea. And you can see where the land was just raked. Looks like it's raked with water. It's like you took side of a hill that was dirt and sprayed a water hose down it. You can see that from, the map.
Well,
space.
For people that don't know,
Citrus rings are there and everything.
Well, you're talking about the Great Flood, and Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson. I'll put some of their work, but I'll actually put up their Joe Rogan link. But they were on there talking about that, and we can basically prove that the Great Flood was a real thing, and basically our ancestors may have got it right.
You can see where the high ground there. You can see where the water went around it. Now, see, there used to be a small sea or big lake, kind of where the Sahara is in the middle of Africa. Mm-hmm. It was more like an inland sea, and it went through there. But you can see where the water flooded up and rushed back out west, from east to west, and the only thing it was maybe standing above it was maybe the top of the Atlas Mountains. You can see where it flows around the Atlas Mountains and everything. And then you can measure out the rings of this place I'm talking about. And the concentric rings are actually the size of what they said Atlantis was. It's crazy.
Yeah, see, that's
But it would make sense. And see, that would be about the same time that the, what they call the upper Scorpion King era, the upper Egyptians, which actually the southern area of the Egyptians, those were the first there, like the Scorpion King and everything. Those could have been Atlanteans that were pushed that way. Plus, you had the Sea Peoples who wiped out civilizations all around the Mediterranean around the same time, and they could be the rest of them, the sea peoples. You know, that's just my opinion.
That's crazy. Well,
you know, the sea peoples wiped out multiple civilizations. I'm talking wiped them out off the map, gone.
I don't know.
Well, and the sea peoples were supposed to have like some kind of, you know, war technology that was above and beyond the other people of the time, weren't they?
Not that well, they were something of that nature, yeah. That's why I think they were the lost Atlanteans, some of them, and I think some of them became Egyptians. The others, you know, were the sea peoples. And instead of settling down, their house where they lived was wiped out, so they were going to travel and wipe out any other civilization that made it. That, in my opinion, that has kind of pissed off. You know, why this happened to us? Well, we're going to make it happen to everybody else.
Wow.
And we'll take from them what we need and wipe them out. That's my opinion.
Well, it's kind of interesting, the blend of what's going on with like theology and hard science. Have you guys heard? Basically, they think they found the actual Ark of the Noah's Ark.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That's been what, years now. They got what they think are the what they think they found the ballast rocks or whatever.
Yeah, in Turkey, and it was
in Turkey.
Yep, ground penetrating
They
radar.
got the outline of the ship on the side of the mountain there.
Yeah, it's literally on top of a mountain. I mean,
Mount
that's
Ararat. Speaking of, you know what? Right near there, just kind of off subject. You know, there's a town called Batman up there near
Batman.
Near that, it's called Batman. The town is in Turkey, and it's called Batman.
I'd love to get an email from anybody from Batman. So if you know anybody in Turkey, I'd love to get an email from Batman. Be sure to send it to CMM Talk@gmail.com. Anybody, actually. If you guys got, you know, an interesting story or just want to add to these stories, feel free to email us. And who knows, we might even shout you out. So just wanted to throw that plug in there. But I'll tell you what, gentlemen, we're about at that time. Did you want to wrap with anything, Cakes? Or James?
What's up?
I keep doing that.
Sorry.
I'm so, yeah, I know. It's hard to get used to. It's so hard. But yeah, I don't know. Have you got one last subject for us at all?
We've definitely covered a lot on this episode, which is awesome. There's always so much. That's the great thing about all of these theories that you know, and that's actually, we could probably use that for a last subject almost. Is that all of these stories are prevalent throughout all kinds of different histories and civilizations. You know, so how does all of that map out to be? You know, they're called different things, but everything plays out almost exactly the same.
Yeah,
Right.
Like on a cycle, right? Like it's kind of like system theory stuff, you know. Everything's interconnected, and I think that's kind of what this episode was definitely about. Considering where Beer Me One's footage came from, and what we were talking about with the Patterson and Bigfoot, like there seems to be a correlation there for sure with UAPs and some of these cryptids. So I don't know.
Right.
Go ahead, Duke. My bad.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to make an observation that, and I think Dean has the corrected information. We fudged up a little bit on our last one because we got excited with Sierra Sounds.
Yeah.
The name of the analyst who went over it was not what we thought it was. Like I said, we got excited. I think Dean has the corrected information.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the guy I met was actually the crypto linguist. The guy that actually did Sierra Sounds may have had some training in it, but he wasn't the guy from the Navy. So the guy I met was wonderful as well, though. He still does tours. His name was Scott Nelson. So
I just wanted to make sure that we got that squared away because we like to acknowledge it when we fuck up.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that was kind of a bigger one. But to be fair, they did look kind of the same. Well, you got any
Now,
last
Nick,
just like our just like our cousins.
like Jose Canseco and Bigfoot. You got any last subjects you wanted to throw out there, Duke?
I was just going to say, one day we have to talk about that Planet X deal, discuss that. And I'd like to give a shout out to somebody.
Yeah.
An actual fan of ours, Fighter 24 from North America. He knows who he is.
All right. Well, shout out there, Fighter, and North America. I think get your duck is still with them, so shout out to him too. He's one of our original fans that has always been there for us, so shout him out. Well, boys, I tell you what, unless you guys got anything else to kind of add, I guess we could wrap this up, Kegs, if you want to.
You want to? All right, I'll go with it. Yeah. No, this was a great episode. A lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun sitting here and discussing different things with you guys like this. Breaking it down a little bit. I think Planet X would be a great topic for our next episode. We'll have to get some what's the word I want? Oh my god, my brain went blank. Some research together, good enough research material together. That way we don't sound like a bunch of jackasses like we usually do. And
and make sure that anybody send in anything. We don't care. It don't have to be about our next episode.
Absolutely.
If it makes you say, "What the cornbread hell," we want to hear about it.
Absolutely.
And that email one more time is cmmtalk@gmail.com. Please send us everything you guys got. We want to go over it. We want to see it. We want to hear about it. I guess with that being said, though, we'll see you all on the next episode of the CMM Talk Show.